Good afternoon, everybody. Maybe I'll wait a second until everybody has left the room. Good afternoon. My name is Yann Gaston Maté. I'm a CEO of Ictos. Ictos is a startup company based in Paris, which is specializing in AI for drug design. And I will talk more about AI for drug discovery in general and AI for drug design in particular this afternoon. I was asked to deliver the presentation in English, so I hope it's okay for everybody. So to start with, I will like to basically present you what I believe is currently happening in the field of AI for drug discovery and how this is changing the way drugs are actually discovered and developed. So of course, AI has become like the most common word now in French and in English since the release of ChatGPT 3 12 months ago, and it has invaded our daily life. And it seems like now we cannot do anything without AI. So I think the big question is, what about drug discovery? What's happening in drug discovery field? And actually, unsurprisingly, you can see that AI for drug discovery is also a very big thing, that there has been a huge wave of investment in the field, and that several unicorn companies with several billion-dollar valuation have emerged, either focusing more on the biological side of things or on the chemical side of things. Biology, basically to discover targets, and chemistry or drug design to discover molecules. So that is actually translating into now what is seen as the next wave of potential drugs reaching the market, which are AI designed drugs. And you can see that several AI companies are displaying impressive clinical pipelines. Of course, this is still the beginning, but we are also already seeing drugs which are at FDA approval stage or phase 3 stage. And considering the fact that those companies are very recent, it's pretty impressive. So now if you delve deeper into what are we talking about when we talk about AI for drug discovery, actually it's very heterogeneous. There are many companies doing things which are very different from one another. And actually, that's probably because drug discovery and development is such a complex matter, requiring multidisciplinary approaches, a lot of data from different sources and different technologies to be able to leverage this data and generate value from the data. So essentially, one way to look at that is by trying to categorize the companies and the activities and the technologies of those companies. Some companies are more focusing on the analysis of mining of the huge amount of biological data, such as omics data, clinical data, imaging data, and so on and so forth, to identify new targets, to perform patient selection, biomarkers identification. And such companies are, among the most well-known are Recursion, Insitro, or Owkin in France. There are companies which have been focusing historically on drug repurposing, basically being able to identify potential new applications for known molecules for treatment of different diseases or affinity towards different targets than what they were originally developed for, which is a quite ancient history, of course. The history of drug discovery and development is filled with those kind of surprising applications for drugs which were initially designed for a different purpose. But now with AI, actually, you can more easily identify this type of application. And Benevolent AI which was one of the first AI companies to reach a billion-dollar valuation, was very well known for this type of technology. Then you have the very famous DeepMind and AlphaFold model, being able to predict the structure of proteins using machine learning. And that's really the structural biology field. Very important actually then to be able to use this for drug design. And then you have many companies which really focus on identification of new molecules, such as Exscientia, In Silico Medicine, and Ictos is part of this category. And finally, of course, there is a big, very important promising field, which is about using all this data to be able to simulate, the impact of a drug candidate inside, a human organism, and basically be able to understand what will happen actually if you, modulate a given biological target. What will happen with, in different populations of patients with different genetic backgrounds, depending on the nature of their disease, etc., in order to be able to predict the outcome of the clinical outcomes of the drug, and to better design the clinical trials, and in order to optimize and to reduce the failure rate in clinical, which is still very big. But when you take a look back, this is not such a recent story. Of course, at the time, it was not called AI, but as early as the 80s and 90s, already there was a lot of work, on collecting data, analyzing data, and doing all type of molecular modeling simulations in order to help researchers identifying drugs, which could be interesting for development. And one of the first companies which has made it to $1 billion companies right now is Schrödinger, which is a very famous molecular modeling company named after the famous physicist Ernst Schrödinger, which is now on the stock market, and which is very known for their technology to predict the binding between ligands and proteins. So of course, those companies, the most recent ones, are already about almost more than 10 years old now. So they've been around for some time, and it also shows that in drug discovery and development, it takes some time to develop technologies which are mature enough to deliver concrete results. Yeah, again, looking back, even before, as I said, before it was called AI, there was already, a lot of, use of computational methods, such as called as computer-assisted drug design (CAD), which has been used in pharma industry for many, many years to help designing new drugs. Also, of course, it's important to note that the fact that a drug candidate is AI designed doesn't prevent it from failure in clinical trials. And recently, we have seen actually several failures of companies, pipelines, such as Benevolent AI more recently, which have translated into an impressive evolution of the stock, not in the good direction, I'm afraid, which shows that companies which are really becoming from an initial AI platform are transforming into a biotech company and basically betting on their clinical pipeline for their evaluation, can have some very bad disappointments, because of course you still have to be able to to manage the odds of success and failures of drugs in the clinic, which remain very low. As you know, only one drug which reaches phase 1 eventually reaches the market, and 9 out of the 10 drugs which actually fail somewhere around this this very difficult and long journey. So if we can draw a provisional conclusion about what's happening in AI for drug discovery, it's not that new. It's been around for a while. It wasn't called AI at the time. And there certainly is now a big acceleration. But of course, it is, as for me, more an evolution of methods which have been used in pharma for many years to develop drugs. And of course, you have innovative companies with innovative technology platforms which find ways to do things in a different way and be able basically to have impressive results or generate also some hype, which provides a lot of excitement, accelerates the investment. And then after many years and some failures, which are inevitable, the dust settles, and progressively these new technologies are adopted by all companies and become part of their standard way of doing things. And we are certainly somewhere here, in this transition between the initial hype and the long-term adoption of those technologies of AI for drug discovery. AI has already, demonstrated very tangible benefits in terms of being able to identify new targets, new interesting targets, by basically, leveraging the huge amount of biological data which is out there, and also by demonstrating that you can accelerate the identification of good preclinical candidates, and basically reduce the cost and reduce the time of new drug discovery, which is already very, very important. AI has not yet, been able to basically deliver drug candidates which would be better than drug candidates developed with more traditional means. And this is for sure the holy grail, being able to reduce, the failure rate in clinical development will certainly be, the most important challenge and the most difficult one in the years to come. So now I want to turn a little about Ictos and what we're doing to give you a little more, concrete view of what is it in real terms. And at Ictos, really we focus on the question of medicinal chemistry and how to design new molecules which will actually be optimized for treating a given disease through interaction with a specific biological target. And actually, it's a very common metaphor. You can picture that the protein, the target, is a lock, and then what you're trying to find is a good key, which will actually be able to open the door or close or shut the door as you want. That's medicinal chemistry, traditionally, being able to design the very optimal key. Where it becomes very, very tricky is that actually you don't have just one lock to open or to shut. You have actually sometimes between 10 and 20 objectives you have to optimize in parallel. Because not only you have to take care of optimizing the potency on the target, you have to also to be assured you have a selective molecule. You also want a soluble molecule with cellular permeability, no efflux, metabolic stability, no toxicity, and so on and so forth. So it's like solving a Rubik's Cube, but of course, every time you need to make a molecule and test it, it will cost several, tens of thousands of dollars and require several weeks of work. And of course, you only have a limited budget. And overall, this process is still very long. It takes between 3 and 5 years when it works. And the success rate at this stage is still very small. And of course, you could think of being able to build a big database of molecules and then perform virtual screening of those molecules using models that you can build using the available data, doing simulations, machine learning, and so on and so forth. And hopefully you get some very nice molecule which fit your expectations. But that actually cannot work. That cannot work because the chemical space is so huge, it's almost infinite, that it would require more than all the computers which are available on this planet to be able to build and to manage such a big database. So you have zero chance of finding a good molecule with this approach. So the question is, can we use generative AI to help identifying good molecules which will meet your expectations? And essentially, the answer is yes. What you can do is train a deep generative model which will actually learn to design new molecules, because the way to represent new molecules is with some syntax, which is a sequence of characters. And you can use actually deep generative models using natural language processing and basically train them to design automatically new molecules. So that's what we do at Ictos. We developed our own generative AI technology, and we develop it to develop technology which help identifying molecules from initial hit discovery to late stage hit optimization that will essentially have the qualities of a good drug candidate. And the way it works, very shortly, is you have a generative model which design molecules. Then you have some predictive models which provide a reward on the generative model. Good molecules get good scores, bad molecules get bad scores. And the generative model learns to generate optimal molecules with properties which are very good. And this is where the chemists actually will find molecules he wants to synthesize and test. So I will accelerate. This works in practice. We have demonstrated, for example, here in that case, that we can find a very strong inhibitor of a kinase molecules by only synthesizing and testing 20 molecules, which is a very, very impressive performance. We are now working at the next step, which is essentially being able to combine AI with automation in order to reduce the cost and time of synthesis in order to be able to generate data faster and converge to drug candidates faster. This is something we do with this platform called Ictos Robotics, where we design molecules with AI, then we automatically make the molecules on the robot in order to have the molecules tested very fast and get molecules which will enable to generate more data to improve the models and converge faster to the drug candidates. Finally, of course, the chemist needs to remain at the heart of the platform and drive the AI at every time, because the AI is not able at the present stage to make decisions autonomously. It still needs to be guided by an expert. So this is just a glimpse of how you can use AI very practically to improve medicinal chemistry. And again, it's an evolution, but now very fast, which will continue to improve the productivity of drug discovery. Thank you.